Hello and good morning. It's Dreaming the Queen Awake time. Welcome. Hi Kim. Where is Willow? Hold on. What is happening? We're still in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. Never a dull moment. Okay. Invited to join. Hi. Oh, there we go.
Hi,
Hi.
love.
Look, I have blue face today. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, you do have a blue face. You're like a Smurf.
Never. Let's bring, oh my God, remember the Smurfs? Holy
I
cow.
love the Smurfs. I had a friend, though, who she wasn't allowed to watch the Smurfs because of religious upbringing, and her parents believed that the Smurfs represented dead people.
Well, isn't that interesting based on
Yes,
what
it
we were
is.
talking about earlier?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Isn't that so interesting that the Smurfs represented dead people? Well, maybe we should pivot our conversation. Hi, welcome.
Welcome.
Nice to see everybody. Maybe we should pivot our conversation, or maybe our next conversation next week could be situated a bit more around religious programming and that sort of thing, since that seems to be very up in the field, especially in my world right now.
It's a
But
thing.
isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
So what the beauty of when the two of us get together, and how's your vibe generally? Like, how are you feeling?
I just had a great interview with the Relationship Breakthrough podcast. They
Cool.
are in UK, and we talked all about the patterns and those 5 protective patterns that you and I have been discussing the last couple of weeks. So we went into more depth with those on their podcast. So it was good. It was really good. I'm feeling good.
Good. Yeah, I'm feeling, I feel like I've come through the birth canal in a lot of ways. And as most people, it's been a 2-year journey, like through death, resurrection, rebirth, resurrection, remembrance. And I really palpably feel like I'm in the birth canal, or I'm on the other side of it. And I am so fucking grateful. Like I'm feeling so filled with gratitude to feel this like lightning of my being coming back. And I think the biggest piece of it, and perhaps this is, what also wants to come through, it's like you can't rush the winter. We've talked about that, and breaking these patterns and coming into a new assimilation as we become new humans. But when the spring comes, like, it is really palpably beautiful. And my wisdom is to move really slowly. It's like I don't want to go back to, my mind wants to go back to my old patterns, but my essence knows that I did not go through these 2 years of deconstruction to simply go back. There's no going back.
There's no going back.
There's no going back for any of us. And so what's top of heart today that we decided to bring to the table, with gratitude for the magic that's upon us, is just how much we have to let go of. And I'm experiencing it still in my own body, but having been through so much letting go, it's like at each new thing that comes up, I feel like I look at it from this neutral perspective, and I'm like, and I just had to let go of a really big, like a really big, um, and I don't really want to bring it to social, but like family of origin, like really big letting go, through choice, through religious choice, and not being willing to hide anymore. And it's interesting how resilient we become going through this death and rebirth portal, and how much less attached each thing we let go of. The next thing comes, we're like, oh, okay, here's the assimilation. Okay, I know this is for my highest good. Okay, here we go. But I wanted to speak a bit today about the depths of what's required in becoming a new human, of letting go. And just to touch on those, we see a lot of it as outside stuff. It's our homes, our jobs, our families, but it's also our belief
Relationships.
system,
Yeah.
our relationships. Yeah. So I know you've had to let go of a lot in your death and rebirth journey over this last 2 year cycle. I think it's so important that we talk about this because the collective of humanity is going through this right now.
Yeah.
And it's everyone, and it's endless, and you think you can't take, it's arduous, you think you can't take anymore, and then it's like, oh, now I'm going to do that. So what's your reflection on that? What comes up for you in regards to
Well,
this?
in my work in the ancient wisdom approach, I've got those four phases: the clearing, the calibrating, the creating, and the cultivating. And the clearing is the most fucking important one, excuse my language. But if we don't clear, if we don't clear a path, if we don't let go of who we were, we cannot become who we are meant to be. And so there's a lot of letting go of the ego. There's a lot of letting go of attachment to safety and security. And this makes me feel safe. And this makes me feel like I'm Willow, versus like, I don't know who Willow is going to be as I keep stepping forward, but I am going to let go of the things that are blocking me from who I know I'm capable of being. And that is how we up level ourselves in our lives. So this letting go, I mean, and it's not just like letting go of limiting beliefs, of course, that's key. But it's also just like letting go of clothes and letting go of food addictions and letting go of smoking addiction or whatever your addiction is.
Totally.
It's letting go of the things that are distracting you from having a deep relationship with your essence. So I always love to have a to-go box by my door, no matter where I'm at in the world, no
I
matter
like that.
whose house I'm
A
staying
to-go
in.
box.
A
Tell me
to-go
about
box,
that.
to-go bag or to-go box is always by the door. And anytime I put something in it, I'm not just putting like, I don't eat Oreo cookies, but let's say I did, and I decided to let them go. And I put those Oreo cookies in the to-go bag, and I'm not just putting them in the bag and unconsciously, I'm putting them in the bag and saying to myself, I choose to step into my highest potential. And these Oreo cookies are not supporting my highest potential. Or a pair of panties from 1999. It's like those have to go in the to-go bag. They are not supporting my highest potential. And so it's consciously letting go. And we go through this monthly cycle, right? The clearing, creating, calibrating. It's a monthly cycle. And so every time we are paying attention to the moon is like really calling us to pay attention to it right now. We got a lot of moon energy going on. And so every time we're about to step, right before we get to that new moon phase, the week before, that waning moon, that week before the new moon, that's the clearing phase. So that's the time to really, I mean, it's always a good idea to let go and clear things, but especially that week of the month or the week right before you start your period, if you are a woman in your fertility years.
Yeah, and also we're in Virgo season right now. So it's all about like organization, and purging is a natural piece of that. And then I would love to take the conversation into, so it's these habits, and I love your idea of like, if you don't want to, just put it by the door, and it's like so symbolic, the door's out from a feng shui perspective, that's what you're bringing in and taking out of your life. But it gets deeper too, as we're looking at relationships and relationship to self. And I know I was just talking to a girlfriend this morning, this concept of like, some days I just want to go home. I just want to go home to my beautiful, charmed, magical life where everything felt safe and predictable, and there's no going home. Like that life is completely gone. Like there is nothing left of it. And so when we go into this like complete reorganization, and I know you've walked this too, as many of us have, we can think of Oreos, but we can also think of like our whole projection of who we thought we were and how we thought our life was going to look and happily ever after, and all of that is weeble wobbles right now, right? And I was just, I love when Spirit brings in these like really practical examples to bring it home. And the example they just gave is like, if you wanted to refinish a piece of furniture and you loved the, aesthetic of the furniture, yet it just wasn't aesthetically pleasing anymore. You would literally strip it down. And let's say it was a piece of furniture that was 100 years old. You might have 7 layers of paint to like literally strip it down to the raw wood. And then you would have to treat that wood in a way. And then you build up the next layer of paint and then of protection. And you have this complete new thing, like just to bring a complete do-it-yourself project into it. But we are a complete do-it-yourself project, and we are being stripped raw, and it's like sanded down layer by layer by layer by layer by layer by layer. Spirit's been saying through me, there are 3 points that are going to hold up in this new frequency, 3 points of contact, that anything outside of yourself that you're attaching to because you perceive or believe you'll be stronger, better, whatever for it, it's all going to wobble, and most of it's going to disintegrate. We're collapsing a paradigm of consciousness. That means everything we created in that old way has to go. And Spirit's like, it's self to self, which is where I find my womb, self to higher self, which is where I find in the 8th or 9th chakra, and then self to source itself. And everything outside of that is how we play through the matrix. Most of it's an illusion. And we attach to that for our well-being, and it is just not going to hold up anymore, because in this higher consciousness, our God self is the only thing that shall reign. And so how do you recommend that we support ourselves and these beautiful souls around us to go through this depth of deconstruction?
You know, I always really like to orient people to their inner beloved, to their essence. Like, do you have a relationship with your own essence? Do you have a relationship with your own inner beloved? What does your inner beloved want for breakfast? What kind of tea do they want? What does your inner beloved want to do for exercise today? Like, start to ask yourself. And essence and inner beloved, they can be synonymous, or they can be slightly different inside of you. But like, what is your essence look like? What is it, when you let go of the me versus not me, like all the things that are pulling on you and all the things that are infiltrating into your field, when you set up a strong barrier and a strong boundary, and you can actually just steep in your own essence. I have a whole meditation for that. If anybody wants it, just send me a DM and I'll send it to you, to go into your essence and actually decide and discern and decipher what that is and what it looks like and what it feels like, and then nurture that and listen to that. And what does that want from you? What does that want in your life? Because everything is going to be changing in this outer changing realm. Like, it's going to keep changing and changing, and it's not going to stop, and it's going to change you. But what you have access to, and the thing that we have some control over, is our relationship to our own essence, our relationship to our own inner beloved. And when we're in that state, when we're in that true essence, we're in our authentic sovereign self. Our goddess self, or our sovereign self, and we're no longer looking outside of ourselves to become more whole. We're finding that wholeness inside of ourselves. And sometimes that looks like, not going to the fun party that everyone else is going to, and actually staying home and lighting some candles and pulling some cards. And sometimes that looks like pushing yourself to get out of your house and going to the party that everyone's going to.
It's that deep sense of listening to what's being summoned through you in any moment. And that brings us back to presence, right? Which is truly the journey, like presence in this moment. What's coming through as you're speaking to, and having so clearly been in what I see now is at the death portal when I was in Maui, 2 years ago, and sliding into this death portal and coming into this birth portal, that the two portals are the same. It's the same frequency. It's a waiting period, and it's a gestation period, and it's a transformation period, much like the chrysalis, of the caterpillar to the butterfly. And in that, there's a non-attachment that must occur. People have always said, you're born alone and you die alone. And that's interesting, and that can sound really harsh, but the truth is, when we're in these portals of transformation, that we're shifting from one essence and expression and experience to another, it's in the purity of our God self, knowing that we are connected to everything that we go through it. And so from what you're saying too, the assimilation gets to be of getting so familiar in our conscious state, in this now state, in our present state, in body, as we're deconstructing everything, to be so present in our wholeness and our fullness that we have everything we need alive within us and we are connected to all things, that our attachment outside of ourselves, like the hook in, we get to release, and from that we get to receive everything. Like the great illusion is what's collapsing, and this, and what we're dying from is a belief of separation, that we can truly come into the unification of ourselves as divine beings of light. And we are all doing it, and it is an arduous journey. And so we're here to help everyone walk through it, because we're walking through it. We're doing it. We're mastering what it is that it takes to become new humans. And we did it.
Yes. So if you feel like you're alone on the journey, just know that you're not. And, you know, you can reach out to either Lisa or I anytime. And we got you. We know we've been doing this a while, so we know how to do it with grace and with love, and to choose love over fear. I think that's one of the big things as you're going through any birth or death portal, just to hold your sort of truth and stay in love around it and not attach a bunch of emotion to it, you know, like just be in the, this is just what's true. If you hold that, the world around you will conspire for you.
Yeah. And we will all be delivered. Like we're all birthing, and we will be delivered, and we'll be delivered into a new earth where our journey becomes lighter. I truly believe that. I believe that's what we're doing here together. So
much love, everyone.
Send in love to your light. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.